I'm Cheryl Grace, corporate executive and founder of the lifestyle brand Powerful Penny. When I started my career, no one would help me. And I vowed that if I ever became successful, I would make it my business to mentor others. I've done just that for 20 plus years. And what I know for sure is that names change, but the challenges rarely do. So join me as I mentor 5 professionals in real time on Live from the Pink Couch. Who knows? You might just discover a solution to your career dilemma.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Grace, and welcome to the 4th episode of Live from the Pink Couch. Unfortunately, due to a combination of an extended shelter from home mandate and the increased demand for streaming services, today's episode is not live and it's not from the Pink Couch. But what we are going to do is to ensure that we continue on with the show because I think it's very important. My family has a change of scenery until the COVID-19 pandemic is behind us. And we had to leave the Pink Couch behind, but technically it's not an essential item. But like you, the Pink Couch is safe. And I hope that your families and you are safe as well. I hope that you are sequestered someplace safely and that you are indeed practicing social distancing if and whenever you have to leave the house. I want to take a second to give a special thank you to all of the servicemen, healthcare providers, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, everyone who is spending time helping to keep us safe and secure and helping to save lives. We say thank you for all of the service that you're doing. Our prayers are with you and your families. As I mentioned, we're recording the show today and we've got quite a lineup, so we may run over just a tad bit, but stick with us because I think we've got a really great lineup of coaches and information and insights to share with you. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I'm Cheryl Grace. I am by day a senior vice president at a global marketing research company, but by night, I am the founder of Powerful Penny LLC, a lifestyle mentoring service, and we help individuals get to their next level of best in 6 core areas of their lives: relationships, prosperity, family, how to look and live fabulous, how to live a diva luxe life, and of course, careers. Now, the Live from the Pink Couch mini-series actually falls under the career pillar simply because we think it's really important for people to understand how to live their best professional lives. Be sure to check out all of the pillars and the many, many blogs that we have covering all of these areas on powerfulpenny.com because I think you're going to find them incredibly helpful. When you visit powerfulpenny.com, you'll learn that I believe in eating pink elephants. I think you can eat pink elephants. And pink elephants are big, audacious goals that you really have to lean into your faith and sometimes the help of others in order to achieve. So each of the professionals who have agreed to be mentored on Live from the Pink Couch, they were required to identify their pink elephant goals or their career goals that they're trying to achieve. And during each episode, they're given homework assignments that help get them closer toward achieving that goal. So let me introduce you to our 5 #Next Level Tribe. I call them Next Level Tribe because we're helping them get to, of course, their next level. Maya, the newbie, is a recent graduate who just started her career. Rebecca, the hopeful, was laid off and is trying to get back into the workforce. Miley is the rising star. She's a top performer who's looking to be promoted. Darsh is the lone star who wants to eventually start her own business. And Jacqueline, our 2.0 career star, she's already had a successful career and she's starting over at the age of 55 with a new career. If any of these professionals sound like someone you know or sounds like you, I really urge you to follow her specific path on powerfulpenny.com and to do the homework assignments that she's been assigned, because I'm pretty confident that they're going to be helpful to you as well. And if you've been following us for the last 3 episodes, you're already aware that the mentees can only stay until they've achieved their goal. They get booted out of the tribe once they have achieved their goal. And this is probably the only tribe where it's a good thing to be kicked out of, because it means you've successfully done what you set out to do. It may take some of us a little bit longer to achieve our goals, but that's like life in real life. And so that's not anything unusual. So some mentees may be with us a little bit longer than other mentees. And actually, we are celebrating the fact that today, one of our mentees is going to be kicked out of the tribe because she's achieved her goal. So let's start today's episode with Miley.
Miley has a heart of gold, and she wants a career that reflects that. She has 16 years of very impressive work experience with a who's who roster of household name brands like GE, Discover, and Walgreens, but she hasn't been able to break into a vice presidential role yet. Miley made the switch from for-profit to nonprofit 3 years ago in her quest to do good in the world. And she's currently the Senior Director of Communications and Marketing at a nonprofit organization, but she's ready to move on up to the east side of the executive suite and become a vice president. Miley has been working the last 8 weeks on getting out of her comfort zone and delegating work to her team. And she's also been trying to identify other companies or organizations that may provide her the coveted VP title she so richly deserves. Miley's pink elephant goal is to be promoted to a vice president by July 1st, 2021, either at the company where she is or at a new company. Now, Miley's last homework assignment was to develop the list of 10 Chicago-based companies and nonprofit organizations that she'd want to work for and break it into her top 4, 2 for nonprofit companies and 2 nonprofit companies. Say hello to Miley, the rising star. Miley, as you know, each episode I identify a professional coach or someone who is already living the career dream our mentees want to be living to voluntarily work with the mentee to help them with their professional challenge. The mentees don't know who's going to be coached until we're live, right? But Miley, today, not only are you being coached, but you're also being coached by the president and CEO of one of the organizations that was on your wish list. How cool is that? Everyone, meet Dory McWhorter. Dory McWhorter is a socially conscious business leader, and in March 2013, she left a high-paying, very prestigious corporate job to become the CEO of the YWCA of Metropolitan Chicago. She has embarked upon a journey to transform the 140-year-old social service agency to a 21st century social enterprise. In so doing, Dory earned the privilege of being a 2019 Chicago Innovation Hall of Fame inductee. She is also currently the Illinois CPA Society Board Chair, and she also happens to be a really great friend of mine, and she didn't hesitate to join us on today's show. Everyone, let's give a warm welcome to Dory. Hi, Dory.
Hello.
Now, Dory, thanks so much for stepping up to this opportunity. You have such a warm heart and a strong business mind. I couldn't think of anyone who could better be suited to spend a few minutes talking to our rising star mentee, Miley. And Miley, what an honor to have Dory here to chat with you personally. I'm going to turn things over to the two of you for the next 12 minutes or so. But Miley, you literally have the opportunity to sit at the feet of an icon, so enjoy. But before I let the two of you talk, I think this is a great opportunity for a Cheryl's Pink Couch Tip moment. Cheryl's Pink Couch Tip. You never know who knows someone, which is why networking every single chance you get is so important. Miley, you didn't know I knew Dory personally when you put her on your list, and yet your list manifested her being here with you today. You guys, writing things down makes a difference, as does networking. And with that being said, Dory, I turn Miley over to you for the next few moments.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. First, I'd just like to say I'm so honored that Miley actually identified the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago as a company that she's interested in learning more about. And I'm just here for your support, Miley. So feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to give you perspective as well.
Okay. And thank you for participating and providing your insights. I think, one of the first questions I would like to ask is, I think Cheryl mentioned you've been in this role for 7 years,
yeah,
approximately. So as you came into this leadership role from for-profit to nonprofit, what are some of the, maybe the top 1 or 2 things that you really were able to translate and use to further the organization's mission? Just thinking about my next level and as a vice president.
From my background, the perspective, I was a partner at a public accounting firm. So while I was in a senior level, I wasn't the CEO of the firm, which is a different role and a position. So it was curious for me, looking at your background, when you say VP, what exactly are you desiring in that role? Because I do think it means different things for different people. It can be complete P&L responsibility for a business unit. It could be expense management of a line item. What does that mean in your particular role? What experiences are you looking for as a VP? And then I'll actually answer your question.
Okay. When I think about my next level or my pink elephant, it's managing not only the team but the department, really being part of this most senior strategy team who's supporting the executive leadership, who is helping them think as communications and marketing as a strategic function, helping them problem solve, helping them position their organization and their thought leadership, and being able to create that strategy.
So part of it for me, is it the title or the role or the scope and responsibility that you're desiring? And so I just wanted to get a little clarity around that. From my perspective, from my journey, I recognize that the background that I had could be very useful to the YWCA. So as you talked about, recognizing that the discipline that you're, the functional area that you're in, finding an organization that can heavily utilize what you're looking to do, as you described it, as the span of responsibility that you described. I think it's probably more about the organization and where they are, and if you could fit within that organization at the right time.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful. I think the organization I'm at right now, it's a great organization. It does a lot of good in our community and in the world. And it's going through a transition phase. The organization is stretching itself. It's adapting to where I think the social service sector is today and where it's going in the future versus sort of its storied sort of approach for 130 years of doing, the work. But it's more about how are we demonstrating uplifting impact. And I think, it's exciting, and it's also, is the organization ready for what I want to bring and how I want to be recognized?
I think from our perspective, when I was asking you around what did you see as a VP role, that for us, you have many of those things. For example, the broad-based industry exposure, the leadership roles, and being able to manage a team of folks. So for our VP levels, that's what we're looking for. And so that's what I was trying to understand when you said VP. What was that experience that you were looking for under that title per se? And for us, we definitely are looking for folks that can lead in a way that can advise the most senior leadership team as well, in terms of the strategies that we need to be taking on at this time. So I think for our perspective, you have a lot of that. I think for you, it's about how do you craft that and demonstrate that this combination that you have of nonprofit and for-profit can be of value in other scenarios, regardless of the tax status of the organization. We know that any sort of job opportunity is a combination of the role in the organization itself. And so I think that you have to clearly do that sort of personal evaluation or assessment. Is it the role that you want, or is it the organizational experience that you want? Which one would sort of take priority in that? Because if it's about the organization, it would I would think that if there's opportunities to be in other senior roles in that organization, can you think about if there is a movement there that can be had? And if not, that's when, of course, you need to think about, are there other organizations that would be a better fit for you, given what you want to do as well? And so sometimes it's actually worth exploring if it's about the organization, sort of what's under the tent, particularly if it's a large organization, there could be other ways. The benefit sometimes is if the people know and trust you, they'd be willing to be flexible. I would hope that they would be willing to be flexible. I can speak to myself where we have moved people around because we know the person, we like the person, we want to support the person, and we don't want to lose the person. That if they have an interest that we, or we don't have a role that we can use to meet their exact goal. However, if there's something else that could be of value to the organization and can also utilize their skills, we, at least I should say, I have created a lot of roles just to do that thing, to keep the person. So that's one pathway. But then I also think that exploring other organizations and what's available there is also helpful. I think Cheryl mentioned earlier about the importance of networking and meeting people. I think it's so important because people hire people. And yes, you have certain skills and attributes that they want to bring into their organization, but at the end of the day, it's about knowing that they have someone that can deliver, that they can trust, that they know can connect with what they're trying to accomplish. And so it's helpful to know those folks as well, or get to know those folks, especially during these times. First of all, I think it definitely depends on the relationship you have with that person, how deep you can go with some of that conversation. The first step, I think, that Cheryl mentioned, I think, is definitely a great one, to be able to say, just to express what you're looking for. I think to lead with what you're looking for versus to lead what you're looking for, and if you're going to look elsewhere, it's probably not the best thing. Again, depending on your relationship, it could make a difference. But that way you can get an opportunity to see if that person can be an ally and support you if there are other roles in your organization, or even support you outside of the organization. One of the things that I actually pride myself on is that when people come talk to me that have worked for me throughout the years, is that I am so happy to know what they're looking for, because if I hear about an opportunity, I will absolutely connect them with that. Because I believe that if we're into helping people, then it's not just when they work with us, it's all of the time. And so I think a first step is absolutely to have that conversation, but really to convey to them what you're looking for and to see how much they could truly be a partner with you in that. And you'll be able to ascertain by the questions they ask you, or the suggestions that they may have, to see if they're going to be Team Miley, or if you're going to have to figure out if you're going to have to do this on a stealth mode.
Dory, thank you so much for those great words of wisdom. Miley, I hope you really enjoyed this opportunity to meet with Dory, and I know you guys are going to stay in touch. Thanks, ladies. Hopefully you two can connect directly again outside of the show. Next up, we have a celebration. Come along and let's meet Maya. Maya is our newbie mentee. She graduated from Purdue University last May with a degree in industrial engineering technology and a minor in organizational leadership. She started working for a major big box store her senior year in college as a cashier, and she received 3 promotions in under a year, but that wasn't her for real job. Maya's Pink Elephant goal is to have an entry-level position that pays at least $50,000 a year and allows her to utilize at least 2 skills that she developed in the classroom by June 10th, 2020. Hi, Maya. Maya, I'm so proud of you. You're the very first mentee to accomplish your goal. On Monday of this week, you start your new gig as an area manager, making $50,000 a year, the salary you aspire to make, and managing between 20 to 100 employees. That's quite a big deal for a 24-year-old. How are you feeling about all of this, Maya?
I feel really good. I'm super excited. I'm pretty nervous, but I'm, just ready to get my foot in the door and start like my first position within my field.
Okay, well, that's great. So your last homework assignment, Maya, was to read the book The First 90 Days. And what were 2 of the things you felt you learned from that book?
I feel like one of the big things that I learned from the book was the importance of planning out your 90 days. because it talks about planning conversations. It talks about planning like your learning agenda and your learning plan. It talks about planning how you plan on building relationships with both people that are reporting to you, people that you're reporting to, and then customers that are outside of the organization, and also relationships with people who are on the same level as you. So I learned a lot about planning, especially. And I also learned about sort of like things that I've done naturally in my previous positions that have worked really well for transitions, and things that I've done that haven't been necessarily the best, particularly with like how I time them.
Okay. All right. Well, good. So, Miley, I'm going to use what I'm about to say as kind of a one of our pink couch tips, and that is women of color always have to be twice as prepared as other professionals because we're judged as not just women, but also as a person of color. So, therefore, the expectations bar is always set higher for us. So you always, always have to be prepared to go beyond in every way you can when you show up professionally. So to that end, we want to make sure that you're starting off right, Maya. So I brought on a surprise guest coach just for you today, someone who has more than 30 years of experience kicking ass and taking names in her professional arena. So I want you to meet Deborah Gray Young. Deborah is currently the managing partner of D. Gray Young, Inc., offering strategic business advisory and professional development services, including coaching and training. She is an ICF certified coach who works primarily with professional women of color. And I know that certification is important and all, but honestly, I don't think Deb needed it. She has a 30-plus-year award-winning career as an integrated communications strategist, working for Fortune 500 companies and brands and multicultural audiences. And she's an author. She's written count them, three books for professionals of color. The Young Professional's Handbook. What do they mean when they say, and that book is on decoding performance evaluation speak. And then You 3.0, Overcoming Roadblocks for Professional Women of Color. I've known Deb for over 25 years, and I know for sure that she leads by the guiding principles of integrity, credibility, and excellence. So welcome, Deborah. Hi.
Hi.
All
Hello,
right.
Miss Deborah.
Yeah. So,
Hi, Maya. So Cheryl, can I say before you leave the stage, can I just say how much I really, really like your pink couch platform. Hats off to you. Really just a stunning idea, and kudos to you for filling in the knowledge gaps for women that are trying to get to the next level. So, and thank you for having me. This is really exciting.
thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. And I know Maya's excited to have a chance to talk with you. So I'm going to give you guys about 12 minutes. I am going to remove myself and give you guys a chance to talk. So just a second.
How are you doing, Maya?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing great today. I am excited for you. So you start a new chapter tomorrow. So
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
me a little bit about your new position. Tell me a little bit about it and what your primary responsibilities are going to be as you understand them right now.
So to my understanding, as I understand it right now, is the area manager position manages over a certain area within a fulfillment center, which means I will be responsible for a team of people who handle one responsibility related to getting a package to customers.
Gotcha. So from what I understand is that you'll be managing anywhere from 20 to 100 people or so?
Yes, ma'am. That is my understanding currently.
And so how do you feel about that?
I am excited. I'm also very nervous. I recently had a conversation that made me sort of understand the difference between managing people and managing direct reports, and realized that I've never specifically managed direct reports, even though I have managed teams of people. And this is likely to be a larger group of people than I've ever managed before.
And so tell me a little bit about what your biggest concern might be.
I think my biggest concern is that because I am coming directly out of college into this role, I'm most likely going to be younger than a lot of the people who are reporting to me, and sort of managing that relationship with them, particularly given that I am not always viewed as the most authoritative person. Like, I've been able to get results with my teams, but I've been able to get results through like conversations and utilizing more soft skills as opposed to do this because I'm your boss.
Okay, that's good. What would be your perspective then in terms of direct reports? Do these people work with you or work for you?
I think they work with me.
How is it that you want to be viewed by the people that you manage?
Oh, well, I want the people that I am managing to view me as a helpful resource for accomplishing their goals and moving up within the organization.
I feel really confident about how you're looking at this and how you are approaching it. I think that your previous experience will serve you well in ways that you probably didn't expect. Now I know you thought you were finished with homework, but you're not.
Of
I'm
course.
I'm going to give you some homework. So Miss Cheryl had given you some homework, which you did. But I'm going to give you some homework as well. And some of this you may have already done just in the course of your studies. And so if you have, that's great, but I'm going to give this to you anyway. One of the things I would encourage you to do is to begin to define your leadership style.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so there are approximately 8 leadership archetypes. Study those. Your degree is in industrial engineering with a minor in organizational leadership, if I'm correct, right?
It's a major in industrial engineering technology with a minor in organizational leadership.
Leadership, yeah. So organizational leadership is one of my favorite subjects, actually. So you've got a head start there. And so studying and defining your leadership style, which will no doubt be some kind of a hybrid. It's not going to be like one or the other. It'll sort of be a synergy of the 8 and probably 10. And you're early on in your career where you've got a really good running start to kind of craft what you want your leadership style to be, and it'll be driven by how you want to be perceived in your company and whatever future positions that you hold. Having a defined leadership style will serve you well, and it will evolve. So don't think that once you get it down, it's going to stay that way, because it won't. So that's part of your homework. And then the other thing I would encourage you to do is to subscribe to Smart Briefs, a Smart Brief on leadership, and that will help you just stay up on the whole arena in terms of managing people and understanding what's sort of new in the ecosystem. And they're free newsletters. You sign up for them, and they have one for absolutely every single industry in the world. But I always encourage people to sign up. If you don't sign up for anything else, to subscribe to the Smart Brief on Leadership. So there's one on social media. There's a Smart Brief on social business. There's a smart brief on retail. There's a smart brief on marketing, but absolutely subscribe to the one on leadership. You can't go wrong with that.
Yes.
And then separately, what I'd like for you to do, Maya, if you can, is check back with me in a month. Let's do a check-in, and see how you're doing. And I'm also going to send Miss Cheryl a list of tips for you as well, right? So, and they're really simple, and some of them you're doing already, right? You won't be surprised at all by the fact that a lot of what you learned in school does not translate into the real world, right? So don't be surprised by that. But what I will say to you is to be flexible, but remain diligent.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Be flexible but diligent, and be a student of your craft. And I say this to everyone, no matter where they are on their career path, even if they're, at the end of their career, you must remain a student of your craft. And that's really, really important, because particularly since you'll be managing people, you want to make sure that you understand the ecosystem in which all of you will be working, so that you can be of effective service to your team. And then by all means, take advantage of being the new girl, right? So the new girl gets to do all kinds of stuff and gets a free pass, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
take advantage of being a new girl and ask a ton of questions. I mean, right down to, where's the nearest ice cream shop? I mean, ask it all, right? Because there's the new person on the team gets to ask all the questions.
I love that. I think that's great advice, because you're only going to be new at a company one
time, and you might not have a long honeymoon. So
that's right. And milk it for everything it's worth, just like Miss Deb is saying.
That's right. That's right. Ma'am.
So before we let you go, Deb, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, and for your patience and getting everything working. No problem. So thank you for that. But I wanted to also share with you this moment that we're about to have with Maya, because we all started our first job somewhere, and it can be a little bit unnerving. But Maya, I want to make sure that you see this, because we're going to be sending it to you in the mail. It is a customized, let me see how I get it in the right. It is a customized pink elephant, right? There you go. And I want you to see this pink elephant and keep it someplace near you as the first graduate of our hashtag Next Level Tribe, because it represents that every single SMART goal that you set, you can achieve it and accomplish it if you just break it into small bites every single day. That's what those homework assignments were for. Deb is going to send you some additional tips, and she's already given you an assignment. Every single time that you focus on a small bite, you're taking a chunk out of your pink elephant. So I want you to keep that in mind. The pink elephant also represents the fact that someone believed in you from the start, Maya. I believe in you as part of Powerful Penny LLC, believed in you. The coach today, Deborah Gray Young, believes in you. You're never alone. I also want you to keep the pink elephant in mind when you think you failed, because failure is a part of life, and you need to embrace it. And the pink elephant is there to remind you that it's not going to be easy. There are times when you want to give up, and I want you to tap into your superpower of tenacity. You've done it to get where you are. You're going to need it as you go throughout your career. And so the pink elephant is going to be there for you. We're going to send this out, but you're our first, official mentee to be thrown out of the tribe. So Maya. And I think it's also good for you to know that the pink elephant here is also a bank, because you're about to get paid.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Make sure you save. That's another one of our Cheryl's pink couch tips is save 10% of everything you bring in now, because if you can actually save 10% of $50,000, you'll be able to save 10% of $500,000. Start it early, start it young. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good luck to you. Deborah, thank you so much for being here with us. It means a lot to us. And thanks to both of you for taking the time out today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Before we leave, I want to say thank you to Miss Deborah. As the newbie, I really appreciate all the wealth of knowledge that you are able to give me. I appreciate your feedback, and I really appreciate your encouragement. And then Miss Cheryl, I cannot thank you enough. There are so many goals that I have been able to accomplish in the past 5 years that I would not without your support and without your mentorship and guidance. And I just think about where I've come from and how happy and blessed I am to have you in my life.
You're welcome, Maya. You're welcome. You guys, for those of you who are wondering, Maya and my son went to college. They started college together, and that's how I met her. And so I try to insert myself in my son's friends' lives, maybe a little bit too much, but this one actually is appreciative. So you're very welcome. You're very welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Miss Cheryl.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good luck tomorrow.
Okay, so we're going to do our last segment for today with the 3 Next Tribe mentees that we have left here. We've got Rebecca, who is our hopeful mentee. We've got Darsh, our Lone Star mentee. And then last but not least, we have Jacqueline, who is our Career 2.0 mentee. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hi. All righty. So, Rebecca, you were coached last week. You had an opportunity to talk to Christina Steed, who is the Executive Vice President at Flowers Communications Group, and she's also an expert on marketing and communications. Your homework assignments, Rebecca, has been to ensure that you took your very complex resume and broke it into 3 smaller resumes. And you were last week asked to send those resumes, the individual resumes, to 10 companies, because your overall objective, your pink elephant, if you will, is to get a job that is comparable to the role that you had before you were laid off 18 months ago at a global brand. You have a master's degree in integrated marketing. You've got more than 10 to 12 years of experience. You've worked for a global brand, but you also have been on more than 20 interviews and applied to more than 40 positions. So Rebecca, how'd you do with your homework assignment from last episode?
Thanks. So yes, I did my homework assignment. It took a long time, but it's okay. Definitely committed to this. I changed my resume to 3 different resumes. So I put it into 3 different buckets of the areas that I feel are my strong set. And those are social media and digital content creation and marketing, as well as diversity and inclusion and experiential marketing. So those are my 3 strengths. And I changed my resume to reflect those 3 strengths. Honestly, I will tell you, Cheryl, and be transparent, it was hard because I just felt like I was letting a piece of myself go on each resume, because you want to make sure that you are exemplifying, I want to make sure I'm exemplifying who I am. And I don't necessarily want to leave everything out. Right. But the other part of that too, I was able to take a look at what was the most important, also listening to you and Christina, making sure some of myself came out more, and also making sure that I have some metrics that are very trackable and that can really showcase the success of what I've done. And then
so which companies did you send it out to? I'm interested in knowing.
Yeah, so the next part of that was to send it out to 10 different companies. So I sent it to 10 different companies, and I even applied to, at some companies, applied to more than one job. So trying to cover all bases. I did hear back from some companies right off the bat, and then I'm still waiting to hear from some of those other companies.
So when you heard back, was it like, hey, we'd like to do an interview? What did you hear back?
So it was, we've decided not to move forward with your resume. Okay. And it might be, I don't know, it might be a location or a search word or one of those keyword searches that might throw my resume out. And I'm not sure if companies are still doing that, checking to see your location. But I don't feel that I need to omit my location because that's just something that I want to put out there right off the bat. I don't want to withhold information that I'm in another location when I'm applying. I just think that that's not necessary. But I don't know. I know a while back that was a thing, like, well, we won't look at locations and that sort of thing because people don't want to. Sometimes companies don't want to pay for relocation or anything like that, or they're looking for talent that is in the current location of where the job is.
So I think you kind of alluded to the fact that this was hard, and I get it, that you want to share all of your fabulosity because you are fabulous. But one of the pink couch tips that we shared, I think last episode, that I think is worth repeating is that resumes are meant to be used as calling cards to get your foot in the door, and they should tell a story, a beginning, a middle, and the current ending, right? Because that ending is going to change once you get this job. So don't repeat parts of the story unless it sheds additional light on a skill set or highlights accomplishments that you're really proud of. And so I did go through your resume and again with the revised versions, and I took a look at it, and they are much more succinct. I also think that some of the information that Christina shared with you last week about ensuring that you are positioning yourself as a unique selling proposition, that your unique story is really very important. But I want to also caution that you don't use the first person narrative in your resume, because resumes generally historically are third person. So I sent that back over to you. I don't know if you got it when I did over to you. So how do you feel about that?
I looked at it and I feel, I see what you guys are saying, but I honestly still feel that there's a lot that is missing. And so I just felt like I felt like pieces of my story weren't there because it is shorter. It definitely is more succinct, but it just felt like incomplete to me. I
get that. But again, it's a calling card. It's to get your foot in the door. And once you're in the door, it gives you a chance to tell your whole story. But we just heard from Jeff that being even succinct on how you communicate your story in your interviews. So Jeff said that you need to practice your craft until you can get your answers down to a minute and 15 seconds per answer, max. Okay. And so if I see that, and I do see this on your resume, that you've accomplished some great social media campaigns, that you have had worked with Asian Americans, African Americans, women, veteran groups, etc. If I see all of that, and those are triggers for me, I'm going to ask you in. Adding and piling on to it doesn't necessarily make me want to bring you in. I'm looking for some key buckets that I can see that you've got experience in those areas. And that'll give me a chance, that'll give me an idea of bringing you in, why I'm bringing you in. So, you know, in the words of Dr. Phil, when he talks about where you say, well, I've done this and I feel this and I keep doing it. How's that working for you? Because it hasn't worked yet. And so give this a try and see if we get you a little bit further along. And I will also caution, and this is a Cheryl's pink couch tip, I will caution people from sending in more than one application to a company during the same time, because it looks like you don't really know which job you're going after. You're just trying to get a job. So I would caution you about doing that. Sending in multiple applications. HR people, and I know this, and maybe the next time we'll have an HR person on to kind of talk through some of these things, but they look at who's just applying just to get in with the company. And so there should be a little bit of breathing room between when you send those applications in. What do you think about that?
Yes, I think that is the norm. But there was one particular company that I had a personal reference that got me in the door, and so the instructions were, you can apply to multiple jobs for the next 3 days. So that was essentially what I did. So I definitely understand where that point you made for sure about looking too thirsty, if you will. Yep. But I only did that for that one company because it was basically, hey, we want to do this for you and we can try it this way as well.
Okay, great. What do you think your homework assignment should be next?
I don't know. I definitely have a personal homework assignment. And I mentioned it on the last show, which I haven't done yet, is really preparing this visual portfolio that I want to do online. So I know that's a personal one for me, but I'm not sure what you have planned.
So I still feel that the interviewing process is something that we can work a little bit more on, because you are getting the interviews. We just need to make sure you're closing the deal. So we just completed our session with Jeff Altman, who is a coach, and he used to be a headhunter, as you heard, and he has some really, really great tips on interviewing. And so I think what I'd like you to do is to listen to, and I'll send it back out again, listen to some of the tips that Jeff shared on the last segment and see if any of those would cause you to revise your interviewing technique. Okay. And we've got 3 weeks before we come back, because we don't come back until April 26th, I think is the date, the last Sunday of the month. But see if that would alter any of your technique. And again, one of the things that he stressed over and over was to practice your interview. The first time you hear your responses coming out of your mouth shouldn't be when you're sitting in a room being interviewed by someone. And we've already learned that, but he offered up some other tips that I think will be really helpful. And so for your homework assignment, that's what I would do, is have you review Jeff's tips and find 2 or 3 of them that you think you can apply right away.
Okay.
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 All right. So we'll see you the last Sunday of April. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, ladies.
And then there were 2. So we have 2 mentees left today. Hello, Jacqueline. Hello, Darsh.
Hello. Hey, guys.
So we're going to start with you, Jacqueline, because last week we had a little bit of an issue because you hadn't done your homework assignment as it was assigned. And I felt like it was a bit of a missed opportunity for you. You were supposed to post 2 to 3 images of your own work a week, which would have been 6 to 12 posts by the end of our time. And you posted, as I recall, 83 times, but only 3 of those were of your own work. And let me back up and tell people a little bit about you. So Jacqueline is our Career 2.0 mentee, and she has had an entire fabulous career already in the automotive industry and decided at the age of 55 to reinvent herself and come back as a photojournalist. And so she's been going to Columbia College in Chicago, and she graduates in May, which is just next month. She graduates in May with the degree in photojournalism. Her pink elephant goal is to work for a reputable media entity such as Chicago Tribune or Associated Press, and she wants to land that job by September of 2020. So 5 months after she graduates. And so her homework assignment was to start putting her work out there. And you didn't do it last week. So we sent you back to the drawing board again this week, Jacqueline. And I have noticed a huge difference. Tell me about the work you've been doing.
Well, what I've been doing in light of the pandemic, and realizing this is the perfect opportunity to just kind of like write the narrative. We'll post the pictures that tell the story of this pandemic going back to, I started out with going back to March 15th, because that was kind of like a day that I just spent out in the city, even though in one part of my mind, I knew it was not the right thing to do. It wasn't safe. But the photojournalist in me is like, no, you keep going. And so I've been, posting pictures that kind of tell that story. And now this week, I'm ready to move on to the next week, starting into the election, until I get caught up with where we are now. And so I really, I took the stats between LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I have done 53 posts.
Woohoo! Over a 2-week period, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so 53 posts. And then also kind of reverting, I kind of did some experimenting in which I really appreciate you critiquing me on things. Like, I love to write. So I kind of started out doing some creative writing, but then you really hit home with my pictures are powerful enough without some of the writing, because it kind of makes you think. It's too cryptic. So it's like, okay, I kind of went back, cleaned that up, and then changed that moving forward. And I've just noticed a big difference. It's a big difference.
I try not to be too hard on any of you guys. I don't know if you believe that or not, but I really do try not to be too hard. But I think I am a representative of individuals who are on the receiving end of your creativity. And your photos are really, really strong, really strong. And yet, that wasn't what I was remembering after I saw your post. I was like, who is Belinda? Was that one of the person's names that you mentioned? Was it a Belinda? It was Bridget?
It was Blair.
Blair. I'm like, yeah. Now who is Blair? And then I started looking in the picture, like, is Blair in the picture? Is like, I don't know what Blair was, who Blair was. I think there was another cryptic message about letters to heaven and not having access to letters to heaven. I didn't understand any of that. I saw what I saw and it resonated with me. And that's what I wanted people to feel from your work. And and so thank you for sharing that you adjusted during the homework assignment, made those adjustments, and it's really much stronger. And I use this as a pink couch tip moment. Here's another one. but you shouldn't be afraid of failure. Failure is going to happen, and not that you failed. Well, you did kind of fail in terms of like not doing what you were supposed to do, but failing isn't bad if you use the opportunity to learn what lesson can be learned from this failure that can help you accomplish the goal that you set out to. And so when you said you went back and you self corrected, did you find that you were getting more input or feedback from people just on your work, or no?
I was getting more hits on it, and then just in my mind is I kind of took myself out of it, because a lot of it of what I was writing has been so emotion based.
Yes.
What's been going on, and really only people that really know me understand what I was saying, and that's what I was not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So when I went back, I kind of took myself out of the situation and just kind of looked at it like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So I would just, take it out. And I will say to you, after 20 some years in the car business, there is not much that can rattle my cage. So when you need to come at me, bring it. I am not offended.
Okay. I'm just a big advocate. I want your work to speak for itself. So your homework assignment was also to pick 2 to 3 photojournalists and follow their social media pages. So were you able to do that?
Yes. I picked 3. One was Anastasia Taylor Lynn. She does work for New York Times, Time Magazine, and Nat Geo. And then Gabrielle Gallimpierde, she does for Nat Geo. And then Desiree Rios, she does Times, the New York Times, CNN, and The Guardian. And when I went through their social media, lo and behold, they averaged about 8-9 times in a 2-week period. So like what you were saying, imagine that.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Oh my gosh. Who knew? Cheryl. Okay, good. So any lessons that you learned from their work itself, the work itself, were there any lessons that you picked up?
You know what? Yeah. It made me think about Eddie Adams, that if a picture makes you laugh, makes you cry, just has that response, that is the photo to post. And when I go back through my work, it's like, I have it. So quit trying too hard. Just put it out there.
Thank you. I think you just summed it up. I felt like the content that you were crafting to go along with your photos, it made me feel as if you were trying too hard.
Yeah.
And the photos were powerful enough. So that's a really incredible lesson to learn. So great job.
Yeah. And you know what? It also made me think in getting my start into what I'm doing now. When I shot combat sports, there were no captions, just the pictures of those moments, the fighters in the heat of battle, the emotion. That's it. And as I'm going through and I have photographed life as it is now and continuing, that's it.
That's it. So it sounds like you found a formula that's working. You had talked about your portfolio when we first started this, that you had a portfolio where you could send people to look at your work. I really need you to hone that, because you really need to start making sure that is in tip-top shape, so that you can start sending that out along with that resume. Did I get your new and improved resume, by the way?
I thought I sent it to you. I'll do it.
Send it to me again. But because now, we're where the metal meets the pedal. You've got to get a job. And it's really a tough time, but there are so many stories that are being told right now. I think you're hitting it out of the ballpark with your images. And so, yes, absolutely get your portfolio up and running. Do you have a website?
The one that is through the college, but not my own per se. So I need to do that.
Okay, so the portfolio and the website, over the course of the next 3 weeks, you've got 3 weeks.
Okay.
Working on that. It doesn't have to be, again, a fancy website. You can use any of the, I think it's called Wix. Really easy to develop website. All you need is a place for people to go to see your images. Not a lot of captions, not a lot of information, just the images. I sent you a website of a young woman whose website is so phenomenal, it gives me goosebumps. So
it's amazing.
It really is. And there's no reason yours can't be that way too. So your portfolio and a website, that's your homework assignment. Develop those for over the course of the next 3 weeks. So when we talk with you again, you can give me something to click on to see all of your work.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good luck to you. Stay safe. Now we're going to move into Darsh. Thanks, Jacqueline. Last but not least, and I want to give people a little bit of an overview about who you are and what you're working on. So Darsh graduated 3 years ago with a degree in business administration and a concentration in human resources and finance. She's on her 3rd job. She's decided that working for others isn't really where she wants to be, but she's learned the hard way after she quit her first job that it takes more than 3 months to open up her restaurant. And so Darsh's Pink Elephant goal is to open a fast, casual Indian street food restaurant or a food truck in the Chicago River North area by January 2021. So Darsh has been coached by Dawn Kelly, who is the CEO of the Nourish Spot in Jamaica, Queens. And that is Jamaica, Queens' #1 restaurant, according to Siri on your iPhone. So test that out. Darsh has also met with 3 other restaurant and food truck owners. And as a result, she's decided to open a food truck. So Darsh actually has $20,000 saved so far, and she spent time developing her pricing for menu items. And last week's homework assignment for Darsh was to work on pricing and developing a full menu. So hi, Darsh.
But no, excited about the menu. I think for me, it was kind of a very interesting journey, more an emotional one, because it's like it made you sit and think about what you really wanted to serve to people, because I think food tells a story. And given how small the space within a food truck is, obviously the items that need to be prepared can't be too elaborate, unfortunately. Right. So I kind of split the menu up based on Chat, which is the name of the restaurant, but also late night bites toward the end of the night.
So can I stop you there? So yeah. What's the name of your restaurant? This is new to me. I didn't know that you had food in your restaurant. So share it. What is it again?
Yeah, it's actually called Chat or Chat, which is actually street food, is what the moniker behind street food in India is called.
Chat, I like it.
And it's kind of cute, right? It's like, let's shot Chicago or let's chat Chicago.
Love it.
But yeah, that's the hashtag that I came up with for that. But I digress.
But marketing, I love that.
So the first 4 menus is kind of the core chat items, which is bite-sized hors d'oeuvres, for a lack of better words. Samosa, which is probably something that you guys are super familiar with if you've gone to any Indian restaurant. Which is basically a spiced potato patty that's deep fried. It's served with tamarind and mint chutney. So the price point behind that obviously is a serving size of 2 with a price point of $5. All of the chat menu is $5 or below, just considering how relatively affordable chat is in India, because it's street food and usually it's less than 10 rupees there.
So
if you convert that.
Understand. So chat is like an appetizer?
No, so chat is just the overall cuisine of street food in India.
Okay. All right. And so, but you have some items on your menu that are considered chat, and then you've got some items that have another name to them, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right. So what's the difference between the chat items and the other items?
Yeah, so I split it up between chat and then late night bites. So late night is anything past 10 and above, and then considering River North and where it's gonna, where I guess it's mobile, so wherever you end up being parked, especially late night, it's easier to prepare. It takes less than 10 minutes to prepare, for a lack of better words, or rather less than 5 minutes to prepare. And it's easier to serve, and it's not as fussy, and it's usually, you know, 1 or 2 bites, as opposed to chat, which takes a bit longer to prepare, and is, you know, kind of more of like a sit down type thing if there's seating available.
Got it. So, okay. So I counted, I think, 8 menu items plus drinks. And so, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because it brings the menu to life for me. So are chat items only going to be available during a certain time of day?
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think for me, I want to test that out for an A/B thing to see how that does. I think it would be interesting to obviously have samosa for a late night bite because it's super easy to eat. It's two pieces of food, and relatively small. So maybe it might be like mini samosas instead of a full size samosa that we end up offering as part of the late night menu. But I think it's something that I'm still working on in terms of A/B testing what options of chat to be included over late night. But I think for me, the late night menu stays as is. Because I want that to be unique. It's like you need to come at night to just get these items, which I think would be pretty interesting. I think some of the food trucks I visited and I connected with too over the course of this, they offered a unique menu for late night that you can only get past the hours of 10 all the way till 2 when they close.
Okay.
So I'm like, wait, that's actually pretty interesting and would be interesting to try out here as well.
Okay, great. So Darsh, have you done a business plan yet? Because I know early on we were sending you in to talk and do informational interviews with some of the local restaurant owners in your neighborhood and food truck owners, and you were supposed to take your draft of a business plan in with you. So have you done that? Have you expanded on the business plan at all?
Yeah, and that's a great point, and I did. So initially when I started out kind of penning the idea for this restaurant opportunity, I started out on who I wanted included in the business and kind of what the idea behind the business was. So I had fleshed out some aspects of a business plan that I went and took to the people that I was talking with. God help their soul. Hopefully they understood what I spoke about. But yeah, so for me, I think given everything that's been happening around this pandemic, I think that it would be very interesting for me to revisit that and maybe add an addendum if, you know, something like this were to happen in the future, how the business would survive, right? And I think especially given like the local businesses are huge, especially in the restaurant industry. I think that's something important to me and to kind of work that into the plan as well. So I have a semblance of a business plan put together. I finalized most aspects of it, but I think it would be interesting to rework that given everything that's been happening.
So I want to make sure that you map out what needs to happen month by month as part of your timeline, which is a part of your business plan. So just so I'm clear, your homework assignment is to finish that business plan and include in the business plan your timeline for launch date by working backwards.
Awesome.
Because I think, you know, now that you know what you're going to serve, now that you know that it's a food truck, now that you know how much you're going to charge, there are some questions that you need to answer about how to break even, how to raise the money, you know, all of those questions that need to be answered. So that's your homework assignment for April, I think 26th is our next time together.
Okay, awesome. No,
Really
excited
proud
to
of you and all the work that you've been doing.
No, super excited. I feel like also being cooped up at home has now given me more time than I had before.
There is that added benefit, right?
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to get to work on that.
Well, good. So the pink couch tip here is Darsh found herself overwhelmed with the really large task of opening a restaurant. And what she's learned is, and this is the pink couch tip, when you break your goals into small, manageable bites or activities, and you nibble at them every single day, you won't find yourself overwhelmed. but you will find yourself making progress regularly. So thanks, Darsh, for bringing this pink couch tip to life for us. And we look forward to seeing your business plan when we meet again.
Thank you so much, and hope everyone out there is staying safe and at home.
Thanks, Darsh. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye. Well, that's it for today. I hope you learned something here that's going to be really very helpful to you as you eat your pink elephants and achieve your career goals. Just recognize the fact that any of the assignments that we've talked about on today's show can be customized for you and your personal goals. We post all episodes on powerfulpenny.com under the web series tab. And so I encourage you to visit the site in the next couple of days to see the full recorded version of this show, episode 4. You'll also find at powerfulpenny.com Cheryl's Pink Couch Tips, as well as the pink couch tips from our coaches and experts. Or you can find this episode on YouTube on Live from the Pink Couch channel, and that's all one word. So be sure to subscribe to it. Today, technically, isn't the second Sunday, but Easter falls on the second Sunday, which is next Sunday. So we wanted to get this in the hopper. Please come back on the fourth Sunday, which is Sunday, April 26th, for our next show. Until then, please remember that you too can eat pink elephants one small bite at a time. And stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Check out the full Live from the Pink Couch web series and keep up with all 5 mentees' progress on powerfulpenny.com. This has been a Powerful Penny LLC Pink Elephant production.